Welcome back to our channel, beautiful souls. If you're a woman over 50 who's navigating the complex world of relationships, whether you're divorced, widowed, or simply looking for love later in life, this video is specifically for you. Today we're going to discuss something incredibly important that could save you from heartbreak, wasted time, and emotional manipulation. Before we dive deep into these crucial warning signs, I want you to do me a favor. If this content helps you in any way, please hit that like button right now. It helps us reach more women who need to hear this message. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss our empowering content. Your support means everything to us, and if you want to go the extra mile, consider showing your appreciation with a super thanks. It helps us continue creating content that truly makes a difference in women's lives. Now let's talk about something that many women our age face but rarely discuss openly. You've met someone who seems charming, attentive, and interested. Maybe you connected through online dating or through friends, or perhaps you met naturally through shared activities. Everything feels wonderful at first, but something deep inside you keeps whispering that something isn't quite right. Here's the truth that society doesn't want to acknowledge. Predators and manipulators specifically target older women because they believe we're more vulnerable, more trusting, and potentially more financially stable. They think we're desperate for companionship and will overlook red flags that younger women might immediately recognize. But here's what they don't realize. We have something younger women don't have. We have experience, wisdom, and the hard-earned knowledge of what real love looks and feels like. We've been through enough relationships, marriages, and life experiences to know when something doesn't add up. Today, I'm going to share with you the 15 most critical warning signs that the man you're dating or considering dating is hiding something significant from you. These aren't just minor personality quirks or small incompatibilities we're talking about. These are serious red flags that could indicate he's married, financially unstable, emotionally unavailable, has a criminal history, or is running some kind of long-term con game. By the end of this video, you'll have a comprehensive toolkit to protect yourself and make informed decisions about any man who enters your life. You'll learn to trust your instincts, recognize manipulation tactics, and most importantly, you'll understand that you deserve complete honesty and transparency in any relationship. Warning Sign 1: Inconsistent availability patterns. The first major warning sign that should immediately grab your attention is when his availability follows suspicious patterns that don't make logical sense. Pay close attention to this because this is often the first crack in a carefully constructed facade. If he can only see you on specific days of the week, at specific times, and he becomes evasive or irritated when you suggest meeting outside of his predetermined schedule, you need to ask yourself why. A genuinely single, available man who's interested in building a real relationship with you will want to spend as much time with you as possible, especially in the early stages of dating. Watch for men who can only meet on weekdays but never weekends. This often indicates he's spending weekends with his actual family or primary partner. Similarly, be suspicious of men who can only see you during lunch hours or early afternoon, but never in the evenings or overnight. This suggests he's going home to someone else every night. Another pattern to watch for is the man who can never make plans more than a day or two in advance. When you suggest planning a weekend getaway or buying tickets to a show next month, he deflects or makes vague commitments. This behavior suggests he's coordinating multiple schedules and relationships. Pay attention to holiday availability as well. If he's consistently unavailable during major holidays, family occasions, or traditional couple celebration days like Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve, he's likely committed to someone else during these important times. The truly concerning pattern is when he establishes a routine of seeing you, then suddenly becomes unavailable for periods of time with vague explanations about work travel, family obligations, or personal issues that he won't discuss in detail. These disappearing acts often coincide with his actual relationship responsibilities elsewhere. Warning Sign 2: Extreme privacy about personal information. While everyone deserves privacy, there's a significant difference between healthy boundaries and secretive behavior that's designed to hide important information. A man who's genuinely interested in building a relationship with you will naturally share details about his life, his past, and his daily experiences. Be immediately suspicious of any man who won't tell you where he works, gives vague answers about his job, or claims to work in a field that conveniently requires him to travel frequently or work unusual hours. In today's digital age, it's incredibly easy to verify someone's employment if they're being truthful about it. Watch for men who won't share their full name, refuse to add you on social media, or claim they don't use social media at all. Every person under the age of 80 has some kind of digital footprint. If he claims to be completely offline, he's either lying or he's actively hiding something significant. Another red flag is when he won't introduce you to anyone in his life. After several weeks or months of dating, you should naturally meet some of his friends, colleagues, or family members. A man who keeps you completely separated from every other aspect of his life is maintaining that separation for a specific reason. Be concerned about men who won't give you their home address, always insist on meeting at your place or neutral locations, and become defensive when you ask about where they live. They might claim they're in the middle of moving or renovating, or have roommate situations that make hosting impossible, but these excuses shouldn't last indefinitely. Pay attention to how he handles basic information sharing. Does he hesitate before telling you his age? Does he give conflicting information about his past relationships or family situation? Does he change the subject every time you ask about his background? These behaviors indicate someone who's constructing a false identity. Warning sign. 3. Phone and communication secrecy. In healthy relationships, communication flows naturally and openly. While everyone deserves privacy with their personal devices, extreme secrecy around phones and digital communication often indicates hidden relationships or activities. Be wary of men who never answer their phone when you call, only communicate through text messages, or have specific times when they're completely unreachable without reasonable explanation. If he can't talk on the phone after certain hours, refuses to answer calls when you're together, or steps away every time his phone rings, he's likely managing multiple relationships. Watch for men who have multiple phones or claim their phone is always dying, broken, or having service issues. These are common tactics used by people who are juggling multiple relationships and need to control when and how different people can reach them. Pay attention to how protective he is of his devices. Does he keep his phone face down constantly? Does he take it with him to the bathroom or never let it out of his sight? Does he get nervous or angry if you're nearby when he receives messages? While some privacy is normal, extreme guarding of devices usually indicates hidden communications. Notice if he has different phone numbers for different purposes, uses only messaging apps instead of regular texting, or insists on communicating through platforms that automatically delete messages. These behaviors suggest someone who's being deliberately deceptive about their communication patterns. Another concerning pattern is when his communication style dramatically changes at certain times or on certain days. Maybe he's chatty and responsive during the week but completely unavailable on weekends, or he's affectionate through text but cold and distant during phone calls. Warning sign 4. Financial inconsistencies and secrecy. Money reveals truth about people's real situations, priorities, and commitments. A man who's hiding significant aspects of his life will often display concerning patterns around financial matters that don't add up when you examine them closely, or be suspicious of men who claim to be financially successful but never seem to have money available for dates, activities, or basic expenses. They might drive expensive cars that could be leased or borrowed, wear designer clothes that could be fake or purchased secondhand, and talk about wealth they don't actually possess. Watch for the opposite pattern as well. Men who clearly have significant money but are extremely secretive about the source of their income. They might claim to be retired but appear too young, say they're self-employed without being able to explain their business, or have expensive lifestyles that don't match their stated profession. Pay attention to men who ask detailed questions about your financial situation, property ownership, or retirement savings early in the relationship. Gold diggers and financial predators often target older women specifically because they assume we have accumulated wealth and assets over our lifetimes. Be concerned about men who want to keep all expenses completely separate, but show interest in your home, your possessions, or your financial security. They might compliment your house excessively, ask about your mortgage situation, or make comments about your jewelry, car, or other valuable items. Notice if he's consistently cheap in ways that don't make sense, refuses to pay for anything, or expects you to cover most dating expenses while claiming financial hardship. This could indicate someone who's supporting a family or has other financial obligations elsewhere. Another red flag is when he borrows money from you, even small amounts early in the relationship, or when he has financial emergencies that require your help. These situations are often tests to see how willing you are to provide financial support. Warning sign 5. Inconsistent stories and details. People who are living authentically have consistent stories about their lives because they're telling the truth. When someone is maintaining multiple deceptions or false identities, they inevitably slip up and provide conflicting information. Pay close attention to basic biographical information. Does his age change from conversation to conversation? Does he tell different versions of where he grew up, where he went to school, or how many siblings he has? These fundamental facts shouldn't vary unless he's constructing a false identity. Notice inconsistencies in his relationship history. In one conversation, he might say he's never been married, but later mention something about his ex-wife. He might claim to have no children, but then reference experiences that clearly involve parenting. These slips often reveal hidden current relationships or family obligations. Watch for stories that don't quite make sense or seem too convenient. He might claim to have traveled extensively, but can't provide specific details about places he supposedly visited. He might reference experiences that seem borrowed from movies, books, or other people's lives rather than his own authentic experiences. Be suspicious when he can't remember things he's previously told you, gives different versions of the same story, or seems confused about details of his own life. Truthful people don't struggle to remember their authentic experiences and background. Pay attention to how he handles questions about inconsistencies. Does he become defensive, angry, or dismissive when you point out contradictions? Does he try to gaslight you by suggesting you misheard or misunderstood? Honest people welcome the opportunity to clarify misunderstandings. Another concerning pattern is when he provides too much unnecessary detail about certain topics, which often indicates someone who's rehearsed false stories, or when he becomes vague and evasive about subjects that should be straightforward to discuss. Warning sign 6. Social media and digital footprint anomalies in today's connected world. Most people have legitimate digital footprints that reflect their real lives. When someone is hiding significant information, their online presence often reveals inconsistencies or deliberate deceptions. Be immediately suspicious of men who claim to have no social media presence whatsoever. While some people choose to limit their online activity, completely avoiding all social platforms in today's world is unusual and often indicates someone who's hiding multiple relationships or false identities. If he does have social media profiles, pay attention to what they reveal and don't reveal. Are there photos with the same woman repeatedly that he claims is just a friend? Are there pictures of children he hasn't mentioned? Does his lifestyle depicted online match what he's told you about his living situation, income level, or relationship status? Watch for profiles that seem recently created, have very few posts or photos, or seem curated to present a false image. Authentic social media profiles typically show the messiness and reality of actual life, including long-time friendships, family connections, and consistent activity over time. Be concerned if he has social media, but never posts photos of the two of you together, never mentions you in posts, or asks you not to tag him in photos or posts. This behavior suggests he doesn't want his online connections to know about your relationship. Notice if his photos and posts don't match the timeline he's given you about his life. Maybe he claims to have been single for years but has recent photos that clearly show him in a relationship. Perhaps he says he lives alone but posts photos from a home that's clearly decorated by and shared with someone else. Pay attention to comments and interactions on his profiles. Are there people who seem confused about his relationship status, Do friends or family members make comments that contradict what he's told you about his situation? Warning sign 7. Controlling and manipulative behavior patterns. Men who are hiding significant information often use psychological manipulation tactics to control the relationship dynamic and prevent you from asking too many questions or investigating inconsistencies. Be alert to love-bombing behavior, where he overwhelms you with excessive attention, gifts, and declarations of love very early in the relationship. This tactic is designed to make you emotionally dependent quickly, so you'll be less likely to question suspicious behavior later. Watch for men who try to isolate you from your friends and family by subtly criticizing your relationships, taking up all your free time, or creating conflicts that make it difficult for you to maintain other connections. Isolation makes you more dependent on him for emotional support and less likely to have outside perspectives on the relationship. Be concerned about men who become angry or defensive when you ask reasonable questions about their life, background, or availability. Healthy partners welcome open communication and don't treat normal relationship questions as invasions of privacy or personal attacks. Notice if he uses guilt manipulation when you express concerns or doubts. He might accuse you of being paranoid, jealous, or untrusting. He might claim that your questions show you don't love him or that you're trying to control him. These responses are designed to make you stop asking valid questions. Pay attention to men who try to rush the physical and emotional intimacy of the relationship. They might push for sexual involvement before you're ready, try to move in together quickly, or pressure you to make major life changes to accommodate the relationship. This urgency often indicates someone who's trying to secure your emotional investment before you discover their deceptions. Watch for gaslighting behavior, where he makes you question your own memory, perceptions, or intuition. If you point out inconsistencies in his stories, he might claim you misunderstood or misremembered. If you express concerns about his behavior, he might suggest you're being irrational or oversensitive. Warning sign 8. Reluctance to integrate lives. When someone is genuinely interested in building a real relationship with you, they naturally want to integrate their life with yours in appropriate ways as the relationship progresses. Men who are hiding significant information will resist this integration. Be suspicious of men who never want to spend consecutive nights together, always have reasons why you can't stay at their place, or seem uncomfortable with the idea of you leaving personal items at their home. These behaviors suggest they're maintaining separate lives that they don't want you to discover. Watch for men who don't want to meet your friends and family, make excuses to avoid social gatherings where they might meet people you know, or seem nervous about being seen with you in public places where you might encounter people from your social circles. Pay attention to how he responds to normal relationship progression. Does he panic when you talk about future plans together? Does he become evasive when you mention introducing him to your children or grandchildren? Does he deflect conversations about holidays, vacations, or long-term goals? Notice if he keeps all relationship activities confined to certain areas, times, or types of activities. Maybe he only wants to go to restaurants far from where either of you live, or he prefers activities where you're unlikely to encounter people either of you know. Be concerned if he has valid-sounding reasons for every limitation, but the overall pattern prevents any real integration of your lives. He might claim his work schedule makes it impossible to meet your friends. His family situation prevents him from including you in his social activities, or his living situation isn't suitable for having you over. Another red flag is when he seems to have compartmentalized his life in ways that don't make logical sense for someone who's genuinely single and available. His work life, social life, family relationships, and romantic relationship with you should naturally overlap in healthy ways. Warning sign 9. Physical evidence that doesn't match his story sometimes. The most revealing evidence comes from physical clues that contradict the story someone is telling about their life situation. These tangible signs can be harder to explain away than verbal inconsistencies. Pay attention to his appearance and clothing. Does he have tan lines that suggest he wears a wedding ring but takes it off when he sees you? Are there indentations on his ring finger that indicate he regularly wears a band? Does he have unexplained marks, scratches, or bruises that don't match his claimed activities? Notice details about his car. Is there evidence of other passengers, such as hair accessories, makeup, or feminine items that he can't adequately explain? Are there child safety seats, car seats, or other evidence of children that he hasn't mentioned? Does his car have items that suggest a different lifestyle than what he's described? Observe his clothing and personal items carefully. Does he wear clothing that seems selected by someone else or that's clearly not his taste? Are there items in his pockets that suggest different activities or relationships? Does his clothing have smells, stains, or other evidence that contradicts his claimed whereabouts? If you do see his living space, look for evidence that doesn't match his claimed single status. Are there feminine items that he explains as belonging to his sister, daughter, or ex-girlfriend who moved out? Are there multiple toothbrushes, different sizes of clothing in closets, or food items that suggest other people regularly eat there? Pay attention to his phone and technology. Does he have photos on his phone that he quickly scrolls past? Does he get nervous when his phone receives notifications while you're looking at it? Are there apps installed that suggest different activities or relationships than what he's described? Notice if his schedule and availability are affected by factors that don't match his claimed life situation. Maybe he says he lives alone but can't stay out late because he needs to get home to walk the dog, take care of a sick family member, or handle other responsibilities that contradict his supposed single lifestyle. Warning sign 10. Emotional unavailability disguised as mystery. Some men present emotional unavailability as attractive mystery or depth, but genuine emotional connection requires openness and vulnerability. Be suspicious of men who use secrecy as a substitute for genuine intimacy. Watch for men who share dramatic hints about their past without providing actual details. They might reference a difficult divorce, tragic loss, or painful betrayal, but never actually open up about these experiences in ways that create real emotional intimacy. Be concerned about men who seem to have no emotional responses to situations that should naturally evoke feelings. They might remain completely unmoved by sad movies, touching stories, or emotional moments you share with them. This emotional flatness often indicates someone who's compartmentalizing their feelings because they're living multiple lives. Pay attention to men who never share vulnerable thoughts, fears, dreams, or hopes with you. Authentic relationships require mutual emotional risk-taking. If he expects you to be open and vulnerable while he remains emotionally unavailable, he's not building a real relationship with you. Notice if conversations about emotions, relationships, or personal growth make him uncomfortable or cause him to change the subject. Men who are hiding significant information often avoid these topics because they require honesty and authenticity that would expose their deceptions. Be suspicious of men who present themselves as experts on relationships, women, or dating but can't maintain basic emotional intimacy with you. They might have studied manipulation tactics or have extensive experience deceiving women, but they lack the authenticity required for genuine connection. Watch for men who create artificial intimacy through shared secrets that don't actually involve vulnerability. They might tell you things that make you feel special and trusted, but that don't actually reveal anything meaningful about who they are as a person. Warning sign 11. Stories that don't check out when someone is living authentically. Their stories naturally hang together in coherent ways because they're based in reality. Men who are maintaining deceptions often tell stories that fall apart under gentle questioning or basic fact-checking. Be suspicious when he references experiences, places, or people that he can't provide specific details about when asked. If he claims to have lived in a particular city, he should be able to tell you about neighborhoods, local attractions, weather patterns, or other details that someone who actually lived there would know. Pay attention to stories that seem borrowed from movies, books, or other sources rather than personal experience. Does his dramatic breakup story sound like it came from a romantic comedy? Do his travel adventures sound like they're lifted from travel blogs or documentaries? Notice when his claimed expertise doesn't match his actual knowledge. He might claim to be a wine expert but can't discuss specific regions or vintages, or say he's a great cook but can't explain basic techniques or ingredients. Be concerned when he tells stories that would be easy to verify but becomes evasive when you express interest in learning more. If he mentions restaurants he loves, concerts he's attended, or places he's traveled, he should welcome your interest in sharing these experiences. Watch for stories that contradict each other or that don't fit with the timeline he's given you about his life. Maybe he claims to have been married for 20 years but also says he spent his 30s traveling the world as a single man. These contradictions often reveal layers of deception. Pay attention to how he handles direct questions about his stories. Does he become defensive, change the subject, or provide vague answers when you ask for clarification? Truthful people enjoy sharing details about their authentic experiences. Warning sign 12. Pressure to keep the relationship secret. While new relationships often begin privately, a man who's genuinely interested in building something real with you will naturally want to acknowledge and celebrate your connection as it develops. Persistent secrecy often indicates hidden motivations. Be immediately suspicious of men who ask you to keep your relationship secret from everyone, including your closest friends and family members. They might claim they're private people or that they want to protect the relationship from outside interference. But healthy relationships don't require secrecy. Watch for men who become upset or concerned when you mention plans to tell people about them or introduce them to others in your life. If he discourages you from sharing your happiness about the relationship, he's likely protecting other relationships or commitments. Pay attention to men who never post about you on social media, never mention you to people in their lives, and never include you in any aspect of their social world. This compartmentalization usually indicates someone who's managing multiple relationships. Be concerned about men who have elaborate reasons why your relationship needs to remain hidden. They might claim their ex-wife is vindictive, their family wouldn't approve, or their work situation requires privacy. While some of these concerns might be legitimate initially, they shouldn't prevent all social integration indefinitely. Notice if he seems nervous or uncomfortable when you encounter people either of you know while you're together. Does he introduce you in vague terms? Does he seem eager to end these interactions quickly? These behaviors suggest someone who doesn't want to be seen as being in a relationship. Watch for men who discourage you from mentioning them in your social media posts, asking you not to tag them in photos, or requesting that you not share pictures of them with your friends and family. This level of secrecy is rarely justified in legitimate relationships. Warning sign 13. Unusual travel and schedule patterns. Pay close attention to claimed travel and work schedules that seem designed to limit accountability and create opportunities for deception rather than serving legitimate purposes. Be suspicious of men who claim to travel frequently for work but can't provide specific details about their destinations, the nature of their travel, or their work responsibilities. Legitimate business travel typically involves specific clients, locations, and purposes that someone can discuss, generally without violating confidentiality. Watch for travel patterns that seem designed to coincide with times when most people would expect to spend time with their romantic partners. If he's always out of town on weekends, holidays, or special occasions, his travel might be serving other relationship obligations. Pay attention to men whose claimed work schedules change frequently without reasonable explanation. Maybe he initially says he works regular business hours but then claims he needs to work nights, weekends, or travel extensively. These schedule changes might be accommodating other relationships or family obligations. Be concerned about men who take frequent short trips to locations where they claim to have family, business interests, or other obligations but won't include you in any aspect of these activities. Even if you can't travel with him, he should be able to share details about these important parts of his life. Notice if his travel stories don't include the kinds of details that people naturally remember and share about their experiences. Does he travel frequently but never have interesting stories, photos, or souvenirs from his trips? This might indicate his travel claims are false. Watch for men whose availability is unpredictably interrupted by sudden travel requirements, family emergencies, or work obligations that prevent them from maintaining consistent contact with you. While life does include unexpected events, frequent crises often indicate someone who's juggling multiple commitments. Warning sign 14. Resistance to deeper commitment. As relationships naturally progress, partners typically want to increase their level of commitment and integration. Men who are hiding significant information will resist this natural progression in ways that might not be immediately obvious. Be suspicious of men who seem enthusiastic about the relationship but never want to define it, discuss where it's heading, or make any commitments about the future. They might claim they prefer to live in the moment or that they don't believe in labels. But these attitudes often mask an inability to commit because of hidden obligations elsewhere. Watch for men who become evasive or uncomfortable when you bring up normal relationship milestones. Maybe you want to spend a holiday together, plan a vacation, or discuss moving in together, and he deflects these conversations or provides reasons why these steps aren't possible. Pay attention to men who are happy to receive the benefits of a committed relationship but won't provide the security and consistency that commitment requires. They might expect you to be sexually and emotionally exclusive while they maintain the freedom to disappear, change plans, or avoid accountability. Be concerned about men who seem to have an excuse for every level of commitment. They might claim their divorce isn't final yet, their financial situation needs to stabilize, their work situation needs to settle, or their family situation needs to resolve. While these concerns might be legitimate initially, they shouldn't prevent all relationship progress indefinitely. Notice if he responds to discussions about commitment by questioning your motivations or suggesting that you're being pushy, desperate, or unreasonable. These responses are designed to make you stop asking for the security and progression that are natural parts of developing relationships. Watch for men who promise future commitment but never take concrete steps toward those promises. They might talk about moving in together, getting engaged, or building a life together without ever taking actions that would make these plans a reality. Warning sign 15. Your intuition is telling you something is wrong. The most important warning sign is often the one we're most likely to ignore. Our own internal alarm system telling us that something about this person or relationship isn't right. As women who have lived full lives, we've developed sophisticated abilities to read people, situations, and relationships. If something feels off, there's usually a good reason for that feeling, even if you can't immediately identify what's wrong. Pay attention to physical responses your body has to this person or relationship. Do you feel anxious, tense, or uncomfortable in ways you can't explain? Does something about his presence make you feel unsettled rather than peaceful and happy? Your body often recognizes deception before your conscious mind does. Notice if you find yourself making excuses for his behavior, explaining away concerns that friends or family members express, or working hard to convince yourself that everything is fine when it doesn't feel fine. These mental gymnastics often indicate that you're sensing problems you're not ready to consciously acknowledge. Be honest about whether you feel truly relaxed and authentic when you're with him. In healthy relationships, you should feel more like yourself, not less. If you find yourself censoring your thoughts, walking on eggshells, or feeling like you need to perform rather than just be yourself, something is wrong. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with him. Do you feel energized, happy, and secure? Or do you feel confused, anxious, or emotionally drained? Healthy relationships should generally leave you feeling positive and fulfilled, not confused or depleted. Notice if you're having trouble sleeping, eating, or concentrating because you're worried about the relationship, trying to figure out inconsistencies, or feeling insecure about where you stand with him. These stress responses often indicate that your subconscious mind recognizes problems that you haven't consciously accepted. Trust yourself if you find yourself checking up on him, looking for evidence that contradicts his stories, or feeling compelled to verify information he's given you. These investigative urges usually arise because some part of you recognizes that his information isn't trustworthy. What to do when you recognize these signs? If you've recognized several of these warning signs in a man you're dating or considering dating, the most important thing to understand is that you don't need absolute proof of wrongdoing to make decisions that protect your well-being and happiness. The first step is to trust yourself and acknowledge that your concerns are valid. Don't let him or anyone else convince you that you're being paranoid, jealous, or unreasonable for paying attention to behavior that doesn't make sense. Women our age have excellent instincts about people and relationships, and we should honor those instincts. Remember that you don't owe anyone the benefit of the doubt when it comes to your emotional, physical, or financial safety. If someone's behavior is raising red flags, it's perfectly reasonable to step back from the relationship until you have more information or clarity about the situation. Consider conducting some basic verification of the information he's provided. This doesn't mean hiring a private investigator or becoming a stalker, but it does mean using common sense and publicly available resources to check whether his basic claims about his life are true. Talk to trusted friends or family members about your concerns. Sometimes other people can see patterns or problems that we're too close to recognize. Don't isolate yourself or keep your concerns secret because you're embarrassed about potentially being deceived. If you decide to directly address your concerns with him, pay attention to how he responds. A man who has nothing to hide will welcome the opportunity to provide reassurance and clarification. A man who becomes angry or defensive or tries to turn the situation around on you is likely hiding something significant. Remember that walking away from a relationship that doesn't feel right is always an option, regardless of how much time, energy, or emotion you've already invested. The sunk cost fallacy can keep us in situations that aren't serving us, but it's never too late to prioritize your own well-being. Consider seeking support from a counselor, therapist, or support group if you're struggling to trust your instincts or if you've discovered that you've been deceived. Professional guidance can help you process the experience and develop stronger boundaries for future relationships. Protecting yourself in future relationships. Once you understand these warning signs, you can use this knowledge to protect yourself in all future romantic relationships. The goal isn't to become cynical or suspicious of everyone, but to develop healthy skepticism and strong boundaries that protect your well-being. Take relationships slowly and allow trust to develop gradually over time. Don't feel pressured to make major emotional, physical, or financial commitments before you've had time to observe someone's character and verify their claims about their life situation. Maintain your independence and your connections to friends and family, regardless of how wonderful a new relationship seems. Isolation makes you more vulnerable to manipulation and deception, while strong social connections provide perspective and support. Always trust your instincts over someone else's explanations, especially when those explanations seem designed to make you doubt your own perceptions. If something feels wrong, investigate further rather than dismissing your concerns. Don't be afraid to ask direct questions about things that matter to you. Someone who's genuinely interested in building a relationship with you will welcome your interest in getting to know them better and won't become defensive about reasonable questions. Verify important information through multiple sources when possible. If someone claims to be divorced, you can often verify divorce records through public databases. If they claim to work for a particular company, you can often verify employment through professional networks or company directories. Set clear boundaries about what you will and won't accept in relationships. If someone can't respect your need for honesty, consistency, and integration into their life, they're not the right person for you regardless of their reasons. Remember that being single is infinitely better than being in a relationship with someone who's deceiving you. Don't settle for partial truths, secret relationships, or emotional unavailability because you're afraid of being alone. The importance of self-worth and standards. One of the most crucial factors in protecting yourself from deceptive men is maintaining strong self-worth and refusing to lower your standards because of loneliness, social pressure, or the belief that finding love after 50 is difficult. Understand that you deserve complete honesty, respect, and commitment from any man who wants to be in a relationship with you. These aren't unrealistic expectations. They're the basic foundations of healthy adult relationships. Don't accept the narrative that women our age should be grateful for any male attention or that we need to overlook red flags because our options are limited. This mindset makes us vulnerable to manipulation and prevents us from recognizing our own value. Remember that a good relationship should add joy, security, and fulfillment to your life. If a relationship is causing you constant stress, confusion, or insecurity, it's not serving you regardless of how charming or attentive the person might be in other ways. Recognize that men who target older women often count on us having lower self-esteem or feeling desperate for companionship. By maintaining strong self-worth and clear standards, you make yourself a less attractive target for these predators. Understand that being discerning about partners isn't being picky or difficult. It's being wise and self-protective. You've earned the right to have high standards through your life experiences and the wisdom you've gained. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about having expectations for honesty, consistency, and respect in relationships. These are basic requirements for healthy partnerships, not unreasonable demands that you should apologize for. Understanding the predatory mindset, it's important to understand that men who specifically target older women for deception and manipulation often have calculated reasons for their behavior. This knowledge can help you recognize and protect yourself from these tactics. Many predators target older women because they assume we have accumulated assets, property, or financial resources that can be exploited. They might be looking for someone to support them financially, provide them with housing, or give them access to resources they can steal or misuse. Some men target older women because they believe we're more trusting, less likely to investigate inconsistencies, and more willing to overlook red flags in exchange for companionship. They count on us being grateful for attention and less demanding than younger women. Others specifically seek out women who are recently divorced, widowed, or otherwise emotionally vulnerable because they know we might be craving connection and validation after difficult life transitions. They exploit our emotional needs to gain control and avoid accountability. Understanding these tactics doesn't mean becoming cynical about all men or relationships. It means recognizing that some people are calculating and predatory in their approach to relationships, and protecting yourself accordingly. Remember that legitimate men who are genuinely interested in building real relationships won't use these tactics. They won't exploit your vulnerabilities, target your resources, or count on your desperation. They'll appreciate your wisdom, respect your boundaries, and value your discernment. Don't feel ashamed if you've fallen victim to these tactics in the past. Predators are skilled at manipulation and deception, and their success doesn't reflect poorly on your intelligence or worth. Use the experience as education that helps you recognize similar patterns in the future. The role of technology in modern deception in today's digital age. It's easier than ever for deceptive people to maintain false identities and manage multiple relationships simultaneously. Understanding how technology can be used for deception helps you recognize warning signs and protect yourself. Be aware that dating profiles can be completely fabricated using stolen photos, false information, and carefully crafted personas designed to appeal to specific targets. Always verify that the person you're communicating with online is who they claim to be before meeting in person. Understand that social media profiles can be created and maintained to support false identities. Someone might have legitimate-looking profiles that show a single lifestyle, while their real social media accounts, which you're not connected to, show their actual married or committed status. Be suspicious of men who only want to communicate through certain platforms or apps, especially those that allow messages to disappear or that don't require real phone numbers. These tools are often used by people who are managing multiple relationships. Pay attention to photo metadata and reverse image searching if you have concerns about whether someone's photos are authentic. Many deceptive online profiles use photos stolen from other people's social media accounts or professional photography. Remember that technology makes it possible for people to appear available and single even when they're not. Someone can maintain active dating profiles, respond to messages, and schedule dates while living with a partner who's unaware of their activities. Don't rely solely on digital communication to get to know someone. Video calls, phone conversations, and in-person meetings reveal information that text messages and social media profiles can't convey. Healing and moving forward. If you've discovered that someone you trusted was deceiving you, it's important to focus on healing and learning from the experience rather than dwelling on anger, shame, or self-blame. Understand that being deceived by a skilled manipulator doesn't reflect poorly on your intelligence, intuition, or worth. These people are experienced at deception and often target kind, trusting people who approach relationships with good faith. Allow yourself to feel angry about being lied to and manipulated. Anger is a healthy response to betrayal and can motivate you to establish stronger boundaries and standards for future relationships. Don't rush into another relationship immediately after discovering deception. Take time to process the experience, understand what warning signs you might have missed, and rebuild your confidence in your own judgment. Consider working with a therapist or counselor who specializes in relationships and emotional abuse. Professional support can help you process the experience and develop strategies for healthier relationships in the future. Connect with other women who have had similar experiences. Support groups, both online and in person, can provide valuable perspective and help you understand that you're not alone in dealing with deceptive partners. Focus on rebuilding your trust in your own instincts and judgment. The goal isn't to become suspicious of everyone, but to honor your inner wisdom and act on your concerns when something doesn't feel right. Remember that not all men are deceptive or manipulative. There are honest, available men who are genuinely interested in building real relationships with women our age. Don't let one bad experience close your heart to future possibilities. Building authentic relationships after 50. Despite the challenges and risks we've discussed, it's absolutely possible to find genuine, loving relationships later in life. Understanding warning signs of deception actually makes you better equipped to recognize authentic connection when you encounter it. Authentic men who are genuinely interested in building relationships will welcome your questions, appreciate your discernment, and respect your need to feel secure and valued. They won't make you feel bad about having standards or expectations. Look for men who naturally integrate you into their lives, introduce you to their friends and family, and share details about their background and daily experiences without being asked. Transparency should feel natural, not forced or reluctant. Pay attention to how potential partners treat other people, especially those in service positions, elderly people, and anyone who can't benefit them. Character is revealed through these interactions more than through grand romantic gestures. Seek men who have done their own emotional work and can discuss their past relationships, failures, and growth with honesty and insight. Emotional maturity is essential for building healthy relationships at any age. Look for partners who have full lives of their own, including friendships, interests, and activities that don't depend on romantic relationships for fulfillment. Complete people make better partners than those seeking someone else to fill their emotional voids. Value consistency over intensity in early relationship stages. Authentic connection builds gradually through shared experiences and growing trust, while manipulative relationships often begin with overwhelming intensity designed to bypass your natural caution. As we conclude this comprehensive discussion about warning signs that indicate a man might be hiding something significant from you, I want to emphasize the most important message. You have every right to expect honesty, respect, and authenticity in your relationships. Your age, relationship history, and life circumstances don't make you less deserving of genuine love and partnership. In fact, your experience and wisdom make you better equipped to recognize both authentic connection and deceptive behavior when you encounter them. Trust your instincts above all else. If something feels wrong, investigate further rather than dismissing your concerns. If someone's behavior doesn't make sense, ask questions rather than making excuses for them. If you feel uncomfortable or insecure in a relationship, honor those feelings rather than trying to rationalize them away. Remember that being single is not a failure or a fate to be avoided at all costs. A fulfilling single life is infinitely better than a relationship built on lies, manipulation, or deception. You don't need to settle for partial truths or hidden relationships because you're afraid of being alone. The warning signs we've discussed today aren't meant to make you suspicious of every man you meet, but rather to help you recognize patterns that deserve your attention and investigation. Healthy, available men who are genuinely interested in building relationships with you won't display these concerning behaviors. You deserve to be someone's priority, not their secret. You deserve consistency, not confusion. You deserve a partner who's proud to be with you, not someone who hides your relationship from the world. Never settle for less than the complete honesty and respect that should be the foundation of any adult relationship. If you've recognized several of these warning signs in someone you're currently dating, take action to protect yourself. You don't need absolute proof of wrongdoing to make decisions that prioritize your well-being and happiness. Most importantly, don't let fear of potential deception close your heart to the possibility of genuine love. There are honest, emotionally available men who would be honored to build authentic relationships with wise, experienced women like you. By understanding these warning signs and maintaining strong boundaries, you're better equipped to find them. Thank you for watching this important video. If this content has helped you in any way, please show your support by hitting that like button right now. Your likes help us reach more women who need this crucial information. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel with notifications turned on so you never miss our empowering content. For women over 50, share this video with other women in your life who might benefit from this information. We're stronger when we support each other with knowledge and awareness. And if you want to show extra support for the work we do here, consider leaving a super thanks. Your contributions help us continue creating content that truly makes a difference in women's lives. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you experienced any of these warning signs in your own relationships? What advice would you give to other women about trusting their instincts and protecting themselves? Your experiences and wisdom can help other viewers navigate their own relationship challenges. Remember, you are valuable, you are worthy of honest love, and you have the wisdom and strength to recognize and walk away from anyone who doesn't treat you with the respect and honesty you deserve. Until next time, keep trusting yourself and never settle for less than you deserve.